Welcome to the third video of the JCCCW's 2020 Virtual Bunka no Hi. Earlier this year, we asked the community what stories you'd like us to tell in the form of Kamishibai. Thank you for all of your requests. We've chosen a story requested by Risa Suzuki about the legend of the sun goddess hiding in a cave. The sun goddess hid for a long time, making the world below very dark. Risa saw parallels between this legend and the current COVID pandemic, and wanted everyone to hear the story and to convey a message. Let's keep hope alive while we stay home. We will see light again soon. Thanks, Risa! Kamishibai is a traditional form of storytelling, literally translating to paper play or paper theater. Japan has a long history of using pictures to tell their stories. In the 1930s to 1950s, Kamishibai was used by candy vendors as a promotional tool to attract customers. Candy vendors would travel around Japan on their bicycle carrying their case. The front of the case opens up to become a stage. As it opens, you can see the picture within. The story is told through cards, moving front to back through a slot on the side of the case. The front of the cards have the image, and the back have the narration. Upon arriving at a location, candy vendors would clap their hyoshiki, or wooden sticks, to announce their presence and the beginning of the story. Most of the candy vendors went out of business when television became common and popular, but Kamishibai is still performed in schools and at events, and is still very popular among children. Today's story is based on Japanese myths. Myths are legends about gods, and no one knows if they are true or not. Japanese myths include many gods and goddesses, though the traditional Japanese view of gods may differ from yours. Please join us to explore this diverse world of ancient myths.
Konnichiwa.
During this reading, we'll read the English narration followed by the Japanese narration. Let's get started!
紙芝居の始まり始まり。
The birth of Japan and the sun goddess hiding in the cave.
日本の誕生と天の岩屋の伝説。
Long ago, when heaven and earth parted, 3 gods appeared at Takamanohara, the plain of the high heaven. When the land was still young and looked like oil floating on water, or jellyfish drifting in the sea, more gods appeared. Then, 5 pairs of male and female gods appeared. The last pair that appeared was Izanagi, a male god, and Izanami, a female.
昔々、天と地がようやく分かれた頃、天の高いところにある高間の原に3人の神様が現れました。次に、まだ国が幼くて水に浮いた油かクラゲのようにゆらゆら漂ってた時に、2人の神様が現れました。それから5組の男女の神様が生まれました。その最後の1組は、イザナギという男の神様と、イザナミという女の神様でした。
The first 5 gods consulted, and said to Izanagi and Izanami, "The land is still young and drifting. Make it solid and complete." And they gave the couple a spear decorated with gems. Izanagi and Izanami went to a floating bridge between heaven and earth, and they stirred up the sea with the spear. When they pulled up the spear, salt water dripped from its tip, and the drips piled up and formed an island.
はじめの5人の神様は相談して、イザナギとイザナミに言いました。このゆらゆら漂っている国を固めて完成してほしい。そして2人に飴のぬぼこという宝石で飾った矛を与えました。そこでイザナギとイザナミは天と地をつなぐ飴の浮き橋からその矛を下ろして海をかき混ぜました。矛を持ち上げるとその先から滴った塩水が重なって島ができました。
Izanagi and Izanami went down to the island and decided to get married. They built a palace with a big pillar in the center and had their wedding ceremony there. Then Izanami gave birth to Japanese islands, one after the other. The first one was Awajishima. Shikoku Okinoshima, Kyushu, and many other islands followed. This is how Japan was made.
イザナギとイザナミはその島に降りて結婚することにし、真ん中に大きな柱のある御殿を建て、結婚式を行いました。そしてイザナミは次々に日本の島々を生みました。最初は淡路島、その後四国、沖ノ島、九州が続き、他のたくさんの島も生みました。日本の国はこうしてできたのです。
After giving birth to the islands, Izanami gave birth to many gods, such as the god of rocks, the god of mountains, and more. But after having numerous children together, Izanami passed away. Missing his wife very much, Izanagi went down to the land of the dead and tried to bring his wife back, but was not successful. After coming back alone from the land of the dead, Izanagi said, "That was a hideous, unclean land," and cleansed himself in a river.
国ができた後、イザナミは石の神、山の神、木の神、水の神などたくさんの神様を生みました。が、悲しいことに子供をたくさん産んだ後、イザナミは亡くなってしまいました。イザナギは寂しくてたまらず、妻を取り返しに死者の行く黄泉の国にまで行きましたが、うまくいきませんでした。黄泉の国から一人で戻ったイザナギは、気味の悪い汚いところだったなぁ、と言って川で体を清めました。
When he washed his left eye, Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun, was born. When he washed his right eye, Tsukuyomi, the god of the moon, was born. And when he washed his nose, Susanoo, a strong male god, was born.
すると、左の目を洗った時に太陽の女神、アマテラスが生まれました。右の目を洗った時には月の神、ツクヨミが、鼻を洗った時にはスサノオという強い男の神が生まれました。
Izanagi was extremely happy having these three children. He said to Amaterasu, "You shall rule to Kamanohara and shine upon the world. To Tsukuyomi, rule the night. And to Susanoo, rule the ocean." Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi followed their father's order, but Susanoo said, "I don't want to rule the ocean. I want to see my mother. I want to go to the land of the dead," and cried endlessly.
イザナギはこの3人の子供が生まれたことをとても喜び、アマテラスに、お前は高間の原を治めなさいと言いました。ツクヨミには、お前は夜を治めなさいと言いました。スサノオには、お前は海を治めなさいと言いました。アマテラスとツクヨミは父の言いつけに従いましたが、スサノオは、海なんか治めたくない、お母さんに会いたい、黄泉の国に行きたいと言って泣いてばかりいました。
Susanoo grew up to be a big, strong god with a long beard, but he was always crying. He cried so much the ocean and rivers all dried up, and once green mountains were now full of dead trees. Many other bad things happened too. Izanagi became very angry and said to Susanoo, "Then, go to the land of the dead, and don't come back."
スサノオは強く大きな男の神に成長し、ひげが長く伸びてもまだ泣いてばかりいて海を治めようとしませんでした。あんまり泣くので川や海の水が枯れ果て、緑の山も枯れてしまいました。そしていろいろな悪いことが起きました。父のイザナギは怒って、それなら黄泉の国に行ってしまえ、もう戻ってくるな、と言いました。
I want to see my sister before going to the land of the dead, thought Susanoo, and so he headed to Takamanohara. When big and strong Susanoo moved, the ground shook and rumbled loudly. Hearing that sound, Amaterasu thought, "Maybe my brother is coming to take over my land." She put on armor and a quiver with 1,000 arrows, and awaited Susanoo.
黄泉の国に行く前にお姉さんに会っていこう。スサノオはそう思って高間の原へ向かいました。強く大きなスサノオが動くと、地面が揺れ大きな音がしました。それを聞いたアマテラスは、弟が私の国を奪いに来るのだろうと思い、鎧で身を固め、矢を1000本背負って待ちました。
Susanoo was shocked to see his sister in armor. "Sister, I won't betray you," said Susanoo. They decided to have a ritual to test Susanoo's sincerity. Amaterasu broke Susanoo's sword and chewed up the broken pieces. When she spat it out, 3 goddesses were born from it. Sister, 3 gentle goddesses were born because I am sincere to you. Please trust me, said Susanoo. Amaterasu decided to trust him.
鎧を着た姉を見たスサノオは驚いて言いました。お姉さん、私はあなたを裏切るつもりはありません。そこでスサノオの心を試す儀式をすることになりました。アマテラスがスサノオの剣を折って噛み砕き吐き出すと、そこから3人の女神が生まれました。お姉さん、私に悪い心がないから優しい女神が生まれたのです。私を信用してください。スサノオが言いました。アマテラスは信じることにしました。
That made Susanoo very happy. He got so carried away and ended up ravaging Amaterasu's rice paddies. But instead of being angry, she thought, he tried to make me more rice paddies, and forgave him. Next, he made her sacred hall very dirty, but she still trusted him and said maybe he was just drunk. Then, he destroyed the room where her weavers worked, and one of the weavers died of shock. After this, Amaterasu got scared and hid in the heavenly rock cave and shut the door made of rock.
スサノオはとても喜びました。喜びすぎて暴れ回り、田んぼを荒らしてしまいました。でも、まだアマテラスは、弟は私のために田んぼを広げようとしてやってしまったのだ、と許しました。さらにスサノオは神殿を汚してしまいました。でもまだアマテラスは、弟はちょっと酔っ払っただけだ、と信じていました。次にスサノオはアマテラスの機織りの部屋をひどく壊し、驚きのあまり、機織りの一人が死んでしまいました。ついにアマテラスは怖くなり、雨の岩屋という洞窟に身を隠し、岩の戸を閉めてしまいました。
Because the goddess of the sun hid, both Takamanohara and the world below became dark. It was perpetually night for a long, long time. Evil spirits became active in the darkness and caused diseases, disasters, and all kinds of bad things. To bring back light and peace, many gods got together and discussed how they could make Amaterasu come out of the cave.
太陽の女神が隠れたので、高間の原も下界も真っ暗になりました。毎日が夜なので悪霊が暴れ出し、疫病や災害など様々な災いを起こしました。そこで元の明るく平和な世を取り戻すため、大勢の神様が集まって、どうやってアマテラスに岩屋から出てもらうかを話し合いました。
The god of wisdom was among them and came up with a plan. He gathered many roosters and made them crow as if morning had broken. He said to the other gods, "Get a mirror." He also told a strong god to wait by the cave and told a goddess, Ame no Uzume, to dance in front of the cave.
その中に知恵の神がいて計画を立てました。まず朝を告げる鶏をたくさん集めて鳴かせました。そして他の神に鏡を用意しなさいと言い、力持ちの神には岩屋の横で待ちなさいと言いました。そして踊りの上手な女神の雨のうずめに岩屋の前で踊りなさいと言いました。
Ame no Uzume hopped up onto a tub placed upside down, and she began to dance, stomping and swinging bamboo leaves. What an amazing dancer she was! All the other gods were truly amazed and cheered loudly. Her passionate dancing was unstoppable. Excited cheers exploded from the gods.
雨のうずめは伏せた桶の上に飛び乗ると、足を踏み鳴らし、笹の葉を振りながら踊りました。その踊りの上手で愉快なこと、それを見て周りの神様は大喜び。雨のうずめはますます激しく踊り、岩屋の前は神様たちの大歓声に包まれました。
In the cave, Amaterasu thought, why did the roosters crow like morning had come? Why is everyone cheering so loudly? She opened the door just a little and called to the dancing goddess, Now it's all dark. Why are you dancing happily and everyone is having fun? Ame no Uzume answered, still dancing. It's because a god who is more celebrated than you are is here. Just then, another god put the mirror right in front of Amaterasu.
アマテラスは岩屋の中で不思議に思いました。鶏が鳴いたり、みんなが騒いだりしてるけれど、なぜかしら。そこで少しだけ戸を開けて、踊っている雨のうずめに声をかけました。 真っ暗になったのにどうしてあなたは楽しそうに踊り、他の神様は笑ってるの？すると雨のうずめは踊りながら、あなたよりも尊い神様が来られたので踊っているのです、と答えました。その時、別の神様がアマテラスの前に鏡を差し出しました。
Seeing the brilliant image of herself, Amaterasu was even more puzzled. Is this the god more celebrated than me? To take a better look, she opened the door more. At that moment, the strong god who was waiting by the door opened the door, grabbed her hand, and pulled her out. At long last, light filled Takamanohara and the world below, and all the gods shouted with joy. Susanoo, who had caused all these troubles, was punished. His beard was cut, and he was kicked out of Takamanohara.
鏡に映ったのは神々しい自分の姿だったのですが、アマテラスは、これが私より尊い神様？とますます不思議に思い、よく見ようとして戸をもっと開けました。その時、入り口の横で待ち受けていた力持ちの神が戸を開け、アマテラスを引っ張り出しました。高間の原も下界も再び光に包まれたので、神々は大歓声を上げました。その後、この騒ぎの元になったスタノーは、罰として髭を切られ、高間の原を追い出されました。
The end.
おしまい。
Thank you for watching.
見てくださってありがとうございました。
That's it for today's Kamishibai. If you're curious about what happened to Susanoo and Amaterasu after this, you can read about it in this book, Kojiki, which is often translated as Records of Ancient Matters, and is a compilation of ancient myths and historical episodes written about 1300 years ago. Today's Kamishibai was based on the first few chapters of this book and adapted for a general audience. Please visit our Virtual Bunka no Hi webpage and watch our other new videos.